The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. It was huge, at least 5 times bigger than the largest human vessel. Its dark metal hull reflected no light, seeming to swallow the stars behind it. Admiral Tay stood on the bridge of the EDF Defender, Earth's flagship. His face showed no fear, but his hand gripped the command rail tightly. Around him, the crew worked quickly, their movements sharp with tension. "Report," he said. His second-in-command, Captain Han, looked up from her console. "Sir, we count 23 alien vessels, the large one and 22 smaller ships. All their weapons are ready to fire." Tay nodded. "And our fleet?" "All 12 Earthships are in position, shields at maximum power." Han paused. "But sir, their energy readings they're off the charts. Our shields might not hold for even a minute against them." The Admiral took a deep breath. Humanity had been in space for just 30 years. They had built good ships and trained good crews. But this alien force was clearly far more advanced. This was not a fight they could win with weapons. "Open a channel," Tay ordered. Before they could, the main screen lit up. An alien face appeared. It had gray-blue skin, 4 eyes positioned in a diamond pattern, and no visible nose. When it spoke, its mouth moved in a strange sideways motion. "Attention, primitive human vessels. I am High Commander Huxmal of the Kalari Dominion. We control 300 worlds across this galaxy. You will now listen." Tay stepped forward. "This is Admiral Tay of Earth's Defense Fleet. We welcome contact with your people, but we do not appreciate your aggressive approach or tone." A sound came from the alien that might have been a laugh. "Aggressive? If we wanted aggression, your world would already be in flames. This is mercy." The alien commander's upper eyes blinked slowly. "We have studied your transmissions. Your species has potential, but is clearly primitive. You have 2 choices. Become a protected species under Kalari rule, or be removed from this planet so a more worthy species can use it." The bridge fell silent. Tai's mind raced. In 30 years of space exploration, humans had met only 3 other alien species, and all were peaceful traders with technology only slightly more advanced than Earth's. Nothing had prepared them for this. "What does protected species mean exactly?" Tay asked. "You will surrender all military vessels. Kalari governors will rule your world. You will provide resources and labor as needed. In return, you will not be destroyed." Huxmal's face showed no emotion. "You have 6 Earth hours to decide, then we take action." The screen went black. Captain Han moved beside Tay. "Sir, we should contact Earth government immediately." "Yes." Tay turned away from the screen. "And alert all ships to be ready. We may need to fight, even if we can't win." 3 hours later, the world's top leaders met in an emergency video conference. President Kang of the United Earth Government looked exhausted already. "Admiral, what are our chances if we fight?" she asked. Tay didn't sugarcoat it. "Madam President, our entire fleet would last perhaps 30 minutes against their forces, and that's if we're lucky." "What about our planetary defenses?" "They might hold for a day, maybe 2. But their ships can likely bombard us from beyond our defense range." The president rubbed her temples. "So surrender is our only option?" "There may be another way," said a quiet voice. All eyes turned to the woman who had been sitting silently at the end of the table. Jin was Earth's top diplomat. She had negotiated peace between warring nations and complex trade deals between Earth and other alien species. Her calm demeanor had earned her the nickname the Glacier, cool under pressure and unmovable once set on a course. "We need time," Jin said simply. "Time to prepare, to study their technology, to find weaknesses." "And how do we get that time when they're demanding an answer in—" President Kang checked her watch. "Less than 3 hours now." Jin smiled slightly. "We negotiate." "They didn't seem interested in negotiation," said the defense minister. "They gave us 2 options, surrender or die." "That's because they think like conquerors," Jin replied. "In 3,000 years of expansion, they've likely never needed to truly negotiate. Species either submit or fight and lose. We'll surprise them by doing neither. Admiral Tay leaned forward. What exactly are you suggesting? We tell them we want to negotiate the terms of our relationship with the Kalari, not as a protected species, but as potential allies. We acknowledge their power but suggest we might offer things they haven't considered. And what could we possibly offer a species that powerful? Asked the science minister. Jin's eyes gleamed. That's the beauty of it. We don't need to actually have anything, we just need them to wonder if we might. Curiosity is a powerful tool against arrogance. President Kang studied Jin carefully. You think this will work? I think it will buy us time. How much depends on how well I can keep them talking. Jin looked directly at Tay. Meanwhile, Admiral, you'll need every scientist, engineer, and military mind working round the clock to find us a real advantage. Tay nodded slowly. My analysts estimate we would need at least 3 weeks to have any chance of developing effective countermeasures. Then 3 weeks is what I'll get you, Jin said with quiet confidence. When the alien commander appeared on screen again, he seemed impatient. Your time is nearly up. What is your decision? Admiral Tay stood straight. The people of Earth have considered your offer. We acknowledge your technological superiority. We request negotiation protocols. For a moment, the alien's 4 eyes all blinked rapidly in what seemed like confusion. Negotiation? There is nothing to negotiate. You submit or you die. With respect, High Commander, Tay continued. Humans believe there is always room for discussion between intelligent species. We propose a neutral meeting where our diplomat can discuss terms that might benefit both our peoples. Huxmal was silent for so long that Tay wondered if the transmission had frozen. Finally, the alien spoke, his voice carrying a new tone, curiosity mixed with confusion. In 3,000 years of Kalari expansion, no species has ever requested negotiations after seeing our fleet. They either surrender immediately or foolishly fight. You humans are unexpected. The commander seemed to consult something off-screen. Very well. This unusual approach deserves consideration. We will allow your diplomat to meet with us on our command ship tomorrow. 1 unarmed shuttle may approach. After the transmission ended, Captain Han looked worried. Sir, are we really sending someone to their ship? It could be a trap. Tay's expression was grim but determined. We're sending our best, and while Jin keeps them talking, we'll be working on a plan that gives humanity a fighting chance. In her office, Jin was already preparing. On her desk sat files about known alien psychology, negotiation strategies, and cultural exchange protocols. But her most valuable tools were time and human ingenuity. She would use both to their fullest. As night fell over Earth, 2 things happened in parallel. Jin practiced her opening statements for what might be humanity's most important diplomatic mission, and in labs and military bases around the world, humans began working on technologies that might save their planet. The Kalari had no idea what was coming. They thought they were humoring a doomed species. They were about to learn that humans were unlike any alien race they had ever encountered. The human shuttle approached the massive Kalari command ship. It looked tiny next to the alien vessel, like a fly beside an elephant. Inside the shuttle, Jin sat calmly, reviewing her notes one last time. We're almost there, said the pilot. The aliens have sent docking instructions. Jin nodded. She wore a simple blue suit, Earth's official diplomatic uniform. Around her neck hung a small pendant, a gift from Admiral Tay before she left. Remember, he had told her, every day you keep them talking is another day Earth has a chance. The shuttle docked with a soft thud. Jin took a deep breath and stood up. Good luck, said the pilot. The whole planet is counting on you. Jin smiled. No pressure, then. The door opened to reveal 2 tall Kalari guards. Their skin was the same, gray-blue as Commander Huxmal's. They wore shiny black armor and carried weapons that glowed with strange energy. Follow, one guard said in rough English. Jin was led through corridors that seemed to go on forever. The ship was huge inside, with high ceilings and walls covered, in symbols she couldn't read. Other Kalari they passed stopped to stare at her. Clearly, humans were a new sight for them. Finally, they reached a large room with a round table in the center. Commander Huxmal was already there with 3 other Kalari. All wore elaborate uniforms with many badges and symbols. "The human diplomat has arrived," announced the guard. Jin bowed slightly. "Thank you for agreeing to meet with me. I am Jin, Chief Diplomat of Earth." Huxmal didn't bow back. "Sit," he said, pointing to a chair that seemed too big for a human. Jin placed a small box on the table before sitting. "In human tradition, we bring gifts to first meetings, a sign of respect and goodwill." The Kalari looked at the box with suspicion. One reached for a scanner. "It contains nothing dangerous," Jin assured them, "just small items from Earth's cultures." After scanning the box and finding no threats, Huxmal opened it. Inside were a small jade figurine, a tiny bottle of perfume, a silk scarf with world, flags, and a data chip. "The chip contains music from different Earth regions," Jin explained. "We find that art often bridges gaps between cultures." The aliens seemed confused by the gifts but set them aside without comment. "We did not come here for gifts," Huxmal said. "You requested negotiation, so negotiate." Jin smiled. "Of course. First, I'd like to understand more about the Kalari Dominion. A partnership works best when both sides understand each other." "Partnership?" One of the other Kalari made a harsh sound. "We do not partner with primitive species. You will be a protectorate at best." "Perhaps," Jin said, still calm. "But even a protectorate relationship has different forms. For example, how much self-rule would Earth maintain? What resources would you expect from us? What benefits might humans receive from Kalari protection?" Huxmal seemed surprised by these questions. "Your planet has valuable minerals and large oceans. We would take 30% of your resources yearly. In return, you would not be destroyed." "I see." Jin nodded, taking notes. "And what about human expansion? We have small colonies on Mars and our moon. Would those continue?" "No more expansion," said another Kalari firmly. "Protected species stay where they are placed." Jin looked thoughtful. "That would be difficult for humans to accept. We are explorers by nature. Perhaps we could discuss a limited expansion within our solar system." For the next 3 hours, Jin asked detailed questions about every aspect of becoming a protected species. She requested clarification on terms, suggested modifications, and proposed alternatives. She spoke about human culture, history, and achievements in ways that made Earth sound both humble and impressive. The Kalari became increasingly frustrated. They were not used to species questioning their terms or offering counter-proposals. "You understand your position, yes?" Huxmal finally interrupted. "You have no leverage." Jin smiled gently. "Leverage is a matter of perspective, Commander. We may not have your firepower, but we have other resources you might find valuable." "Like what?" demanded one of the other Kalari. "Human creativity, for one," Jin replied. "Did you know that in our short time in space, we've developed unique solutions to problems that other species solved differently? Our scientists have created medical treatments that work across species. Our artists create works that aliens find moving, despite our cultural differences." She paused. "But more importantly, we adapt quickly. Whatever relationship forms between our peoples will go more smoothly if humans accept it willingly, rather than under pure threat." Huxmal leaned back in his chair. "You talk much but say little of substance. Do you accept our protection or not?" "I cannot make that decision alone," Jin said. "I need to bring your terms back to Earth's leaders. And I would like to propose a series of meetings to work out details, perhaps over the next few weeks." The Kalari commander stared at her with all 4 eyes. "Weeks? We expected an answer today. Commander, surely a civilization as advanced as yours understands that good agreements take time," Jin said. "We're talking about the future of an entire planet. Rushing seems primitive, doesn't it?" That word, primitive, made Huxmal's eyes narrow. Jin had touched a nerve. 3 days, he said finally. "You have 3 days before our next meeting." Jin kept her face neutral, hiding her disappointment. She had hoped for more time. Thank you, Commander. I appreciate your flexibility. Back on Earth, Admiral Tay received Jin's report with a grim face. 3 days isn't enough, said the chief engineer, Yun. We've barely begun studying their shield frequencies. Tay paced the room. Around them, hundreds of scientists and military personnel worked frantically. Every lab on Earth was focused on one goal, finding a way to defend against the Kalari. Jin will get us more time, Tay said firmly. She has to. Yun looked doubtful. And if she can't? Then we use what we have and fight anyway, Tay replied. What's our progress? Yun led him to a large screen showing diagrams of Kalari ships. We've identified some unusual energy signatures in their communication systems. It might be nothing, but follow it, Tay ordered. Any possibility, no matter how small. As they talked, Jin was preparing for her return to the Kalari ship. This time she would bring data about Earth's resources, apparent cooperation, and a proposal for a longer negotiation timeline. I need to make them curious, she told President Kang. Curious enough to delay their deadline. How? Asked the president. Jin's eyes showed determination. By hinting that humans might have something the Kalari have never seen before, something worth waiting for. As her shuttle prepared for launch, Jin reviewed her new strategy. The stakes were impossible to ignore. The fate of humanity rested on her ability to keep talking, to keep the aliens interested. On the Kalari command ship, Huxmal was having his own meeting. This human diplomat is unusual, he told his officers. She acts as if they have choices. Perhaps we should simply take their planet now, suggested one officer. Why waste time with talk? Because in 3,000 years of conquest, no species has ever asked to negotiate after seeing our fleet, Huxmal replied. I want to understand why before we crush them. What the Kalari commander didn't know was that with every passing day, humans were getting closer to finding a weakness in the aliens' seemingly perfect armor, and Jin was determined to buy them all the time they needed. 10 days had passed since first contact. Jin sat at the negotiation table for the 4th time, surrounded by increasingly impatient Kalari officials. She had managed to stretch the initial 3-day deadline into a series of preliminary discussions. Today, she had brought samples of Earth foods and drinks. The Kalari scientists had scanned everything and approved some items as safe for their biology. This is called chocolate, Jin explained, watching as Huxmal cautiously tasted a small piece. His 4 eyes widened slightly. The taste is complex, he admitted. Your species creates this simply for pleasure? Jin nodded. Food is one of our cultural touchstones. Each region of Earth has unique flavors and cooking methods. We thought sharing them might help you understand humanity better. Another Kalari, a female named Learvex who had joined the negotiations on day 6, seemed more interested in the human cultural offerings than her colleagues. These drinks all contain the same ingredient? Alcohol? She asked, examining the wine and whiskey samples. Yes, Jin explained. Fermented beverages appear in almost every human culture throughout our history. They serve both ceremonial and social purposes. Jin had been carefully observing the aliens. Learvex seemed genuinely curious about humans. 2 others remained, coldly analytical. But Huxmal was the hardest to read, sometimes annoyed, sometimes intrigued. Enough about food, Huxmal said suddenly. We have spent 10 days discussing trivial matters. Today we must finalize the protection terms. Jin smiled politely. Of course. I've prepared a document outlining our proposed modifications to your terms. She placed a data pad on the table. It contained a lengthy document with dozens of clauses, subclauses, and appendices. The Kalari representative stared at it. What is this? Demanded one of the officials. We presented simple terms. Simple terms for a complex relationship. Jin replied smoothly. This document addresses questions like resource sharing percentages, cultural preservation zones, education systems under Kalari guidance, and so on, all essential for a smooth transition. Huxmal's upper right eye twitched. This would take days to review properly. Yes, Jin agreed. which is why I suggest we establish a joint review committee. Perhaps 3 Kalari and 3 humans working together over the next week? Lirvex looked at the document with interest. This approach is thorough. Perhaps we should consider it. Huxmal seemed about to object when his communication device made a sound. He checked it, then stood abruptly. We will take a recess. 1 hour. The Kalari left the room, leaving Jin alone. She let out a deep breath. Another day gained. Maybe more if they agreed to her committee idea. On the other side of the Kalari ship, Huxmal entered a secure meeting room where a junior analyst named Vextor waited. Report, Huxmal ordered. Vextor displayed images on a large screen. Our observation: satellites have detected unusual activity on Earth. Their military bases are working at full capacity. Manufacturing facilities have changed their output patterns, and energy usage has increased by 40% worldwide. What are they producing? Huxmal asked. Unknown. They've been careful to shield key facilities from our scans. Vextor hesitated. Sir, I believe they may be preparing for conflict while their diplomat keeps us talking. Huxmal stared at the images. The humans know they cannot win against our forces. This makes no sense. Unless they're developing something new, suggested Vextor. Humans have shown remarkable adaptability in their short history. Lirvex, who had followed Huxmal, spoke up. Our xenobiologists have been studying human psychology. They report something unusual. Humans perform better under pressure. Their creativity and problem-solving abilities actually increase when facing threats. Huxmal considered this information. So by threatening them, we may have triggered an accelerated response, Lirvex finished. No other species we've encountered reacts this way. Huxmal's eyes narrowed. The diplomat, she's buying them time. Back on Earth, Admiral Tay stood in the main research facility beneath the Pacific Ocean. The underwater base had been built in secret years ago, in case Earth ever needed a hidden command center. Dr. Yun approached, looking tired but excited. Admiral, I think we found something. Tay followed her to a lab where a small piece of alien technology was being studied. It was a communication device they had managed to recover from a brief scan of a Kalari shuttle. Their entire system uses quantum entanglement for instant communication across vast distances, Yun explained. It's far more advanced than our tech, but it has a unique feature. She pointed to diagrams on her screen. All their systems are connected through this network, and all of them use the same quantum frequency pattern. Tay leaned closer. Are you saying what I think you're saying? Yun nodded. If we can create a disruption signal on this exact frequency, we might be able to temporarily disable their communication systems, maybe even their weapons. How long to develop this disruption device? Tay asked. At least another week. Maybe 2, Yun replied. We need to test it carefully. If it works against one system, it might work against all of them. Tay's face showed both hope and concern. Jin has bought us 10 days already. I don't know how much longer she can keep them talking. Tell her to get us more time, Yun said firmly. We're close to something that could save Earth. When Jin returned to her quarters on Earth that evening, she found a secure message waiting from Admiral Tay. It was brief. Progress made. Need 2 more weeks minimum. Critical breakthrough possible. Jin leaned back in her chair, feeling the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders. She had used almost every diplomatic trick she knew. The Kalari were getting suspicious and impatient. As she prepared for bed, her communication device chimed. It was a message from Lirvex, the female Kalari who seemed most interested in human culture. Human Jin, I have been authorized to inform you that the High Command has agreed to your joint committee proposal. We will begin tomorrow. Additionally, I request permission to visit Earth as part of this committee. I wish to observe human culture directly. Jin read the message twice, hardly believing their luck. A Kalari visiting Earth would extend the negotiations by days, maybe weeks, and it would give humans a chance to impress at least one Kalari with their civilization. She sent a quick reply accepting the proposal, then sent another secure message to Admiral Tay. Breakthrough on my end too. Negotiations continuing with new format. Kalari representative coming to Earth. Buy all scientific teams whatever they need, we might just pull this off. That night, as billions of humans went about their lives not knowing how close they were to extinction, 3 people worked tirelessly for their species. Jin crafting her next diplomatic approach, Tay coordinating the global defense effort, and Dr. Yoon fine-tuning what might be humanity's only hope against an overwhelmingly powerful enemy. The Kalari had never encountered a species like humans before, one that could smile and negotiate while secretly preparing for war. One that grew, stronger, not weaker, under threat. They were about to learn just how unique humans truly were. 3 weeks had passed since the Kalari ships first appeared above Earth. The visit of Learvex to the planet had extended the negotiations more than Jin had hoped. The Kalari representative had been fascinated by human cities, art, and especially music. Your species creates vibrations simply to cause emotional responses, Learvex had said after attending a symphony. This is unexpected. Today marked the 23rd day of negotiations. Jin sat in the Earth delegation office, preparing for what she hoped would be the final meeting, but not for the reasons the Kalari might expect. Her secure communication device lit up. It was Admiral Tay. "It's ready," he said simply. Jin felt a rush of both relief and tension. "You're certain it works?" Dr. Yun tested it on the small Kalari device we had. It worked perfectly. The full-scale version should affect any Kalari system, within range. Jin nodded. "And the fleet?" "All ships are in position. Earth's defenses are at maximum readiness." Tay paused. "We've done all we can, Jin. The rest is up to you." After ending the call, Jin stared out the window at the alien ships, still hovering in Earth's orbit. In 3 weeks, she had come to know the Kalari better than any human. They weren't evil, just utterly convinced of their superiority. Now it was time to challenge that belief. On the Kalari command ship, Huxmal was losing patience. 3 weeks of talk, he growled to his officers. 3 weeks while the humans delay and distract us. Vextor, the junior analyst who had been monitoring Earth's activities, displayed new images. "The unusual activities have continued, Commander. Energy spikes are now occurring across their planet. They appear to be testing something." "Testing? What?" demanded Huxmal. "Unknown. But our sensors detected a brief disruption in one of our scout ship's systems yesterday. It lasted only seconds." Huxmal slammed his fist on the table. "I've been too patient. The humans are planning something. Prepare the fleet for—" He was interrupted by Learvex entering the room. "Commander, the human diplomat has requested an urgent meeting. She says she has their final answer regarding protection status." Huxmal's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Finally. Bring her aboard immediately." Jin entered the negotiation room with only a small case. She had worn her formal, diplomatic uniform for this meeting. Commander Huxmal waited with his senior officers and Learvex. "You have an answer for us?" Huxmal asked without greeting. Jin nodded. "Yes, Commander. First, let me thank you for your patience these past weeks. The relationship between our species is important and rushing would have been a mistake." "Agreed," said Learvex. "I have learned much about humans during this time." Huxmal seemed less impressed. "Your answer, diplomat. Do you accept Kalari protection or not?" Jin placed her case on the table. "Before I give our answer, I'd like to demonstrate something that might change the parameters of our discussion." She opened the case and removed a small device, placing it carefully on the table. It was a simple metal cube with a clear display screen. "What is this?" asked one of the Kalari officers suspiciously. "A demonstration," Jin replied, tapping the screen. The display lit up, showing an image of one of the smaller Kalari warships currently orbiting Earth. As the aliens watched, the ship's running lights began to flicker. Then its engines dimmed. Within seconds, the ship appeared to be losing power. "What have you done?" demanded Huxmal, standing up. "Don't worry," Jin said calmly. "The effects are temporary. Your ship will regain full power in approximately 3 minutes." The Kalari stared at her in shock. "While we've been talking," Jin explained, "we've been learning. Your technology is impressive, but it has vulnerabilities. What you're seeing is a demonstration of a quantum disruption field we've developed specifically for Kalari systems. Learvex looked from the screen to Jin. This is why you needed time. Jin nodded. Yes, your quantum entanglement communication system is your greatest strength, but also your greatest weakness. All your ships and weapons use the same frequency pattern, which means they can all be affected by our disruptor. Huxmal's face showed rage, but also a hint of something new. Respect. You could have deployed this against our entire fleet, he realized. Why negotiate at all? Because humans prefer peace to war, Jin answered simply. We always negotiate first, but we also prepare for the worst. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. The primitive humans had found a weakness in Kalari technology that no species had discovered in 3,000 years. Vextor, who had been analyzing data on his pad, looked up with surprise. Commander, I'm detecting similar devices being activated near every one of our ships in Earth orbit, and on Earth's surface large energy signatures consistent with their weapons systems are powering up. Huxmal turned to Jin. You planned this all along. We planned for survival, Jin corrected him. From the moment you threatened our planet, we began looking for ways to defend ourselves. The negotiations were genuine. We truly do prefer a peaceful resolution. But yes, we used the time to develop countermeasures. On the screen, the affected Kalari ship began to regain power, just as Jin had promised. Let me be clear, Jin continued. We don't want war with the Kalari. We're not looking to destroy your ships or harm your people, but we will not become a subjugated species. Learvex stepped forward. Commander, I have studied these humans closely. They are unlike any species we've encountered. Their art, their music, their sciences, they think differently than we do. Perhaps there is value in a relationship beyond simple domination. For long moments, Huxmal stared at the human diplomat. The room was tense with Kalari officers waiting for orders to attack. Finally, he spoke. You are either the bravest or the most foolish species we have ever encountered. Then, surprisingly, his mouth moved in what might have been a Kalari version of a smile. Perhaps both. Jin remained calm, though her heart was racing. Everything depended on the next few minutes. I propose a new type of relationship, she said. Not as rulers and subjects, but as allies with different strengths. We have much to learn from the Kalari, and perhaps there are things you could learn from us as well. Huxmal considered her words. You understand that I could still order your planet destroyed. Your device might disable our ships temporarily, but we could return with a larger force. You could, Jin agreed, and we would be ready, but what would either of us gain from that path? Learvex nodded. The human speaks wisdom, Commander. War would cost both sides greatly. Cooperation might benefit both. The tension in the room slowly began to ease as Huxmal resumed his seat. Very well, human Jin. It seems we have more to discuss. He looked at her with new eyes, the eyes of someone seeing an equal for the first time. Tell me about this alliance you propose. In orbit above Earth, Admiral Tay received Jin's message. Crisis averted. Beginning real negotiations now, he let out a long breath, looking at the stars where Kalari ships floated alongside human vessels. This was just the beginning, he knew. Humans and Kalari would have a complex relationship ahead. But humanity had earned something precious today. Respect, and with it a future among the stars. 1 month after the first Kalari ships appeared over Earth, the final treaty negotiations were taking place on a neutral space station positioned halfway between Earth and the Kalari fleet. The atmosphere was completely different from the first, tense meetings. Jin sat across from Huxmal, both of them reviewing the treaty document on their screens. Also present were Admiral Tay, Dr. Yun, Learvex, and Vextor. The room had been designed with both human and Kalari comfort in mind, a symbol of the new relationship forming between the species. This final draft addresses all major concerns. From both sides, Jin said, scrolling through the document. Humans maintain full autonomy while entering the Kalari Dominion as junior partners rather than a protected species. Huxmal nodded, his four eyes scanning the text. And the technology exchange program will be gradual, allowing both species time to adapt. The treaty had taken 2 weeks to craft. It established humanity not as subjects, but as allies. Earth would join the Kalari Dominion while keeping its independence and military. In return, humans would share their unique perspectives on science, art, and problem-solving with the Kalari. I never imagined we would end up here, Admiral Tay said, looking around the table. When your ships first appeared, I thought Earth was doomed. Vexator, who had been promoted after correctly assessing human capabilities, spoke up. In 3,000 years of expansion, the Kalari have never experienced a first contact quite like this one. Your species is unexpected, Huxmal admitted. You appeared weak yet prepared for strength. You spoke of peace while readying for war. Jin smiled. It's our greatest strength and sometimes our greatest weakness. We hope for the best but prepare for the worst, always. Learvex, who had become something of an expert on human culture, added, the most fascinating discovery was how humans perform under pressure. Where most species become less effective when threatened, humans become more creative, more determined. Dr. Yun, who had led the team that developed the quantum disruption device, nodded. We made more technological progress in those 3 weeks than we might have in years under normal circumstances. Huxmal's expression was serious as he placed his hand on the treaty's signature pad. The Kalari High Command was not pleased when I first proposed this alliance. Many wanted to return with a larger fleet and simply take your world. What changed their minds? Tay asked. I showed them the data on human adaptability, Huxmal replied. And I asked a simple question. Would you rather have these humans as enemies who will keep developing new ways to fight us, or as allies who might help us solve problems we haven't been able to solve in centuries? Jin placed her own hand on the signature pad. The treaty was now official. Earth was the newest and most unusual member of the Kalari Dominion. There will be challenges ahead, she said. Not all humans will embrace this alliance. Not all Kalari will accept humans as equals. True, agreed Huxmal. But the alternative was destruction for one or both of our peoples. This is a better path. After the signing ceremony, Jin found herself standing at a viewing window with Admiral Tay, watching Earth shine blue and white against the darkness of space. We did it, Tay said quietly. When this all started, I thought the best we could hope for was survival. Jin smiled. And now we're about to receive advanced technology, access to dozens of new worlds, and protection from other hostile species that might be out there. Tay looked at her curiously. There's something I've been wanting to ask you. Would you really have used it? The disruption device? Jin watched the stars for a moment before answering. I'm glad we didn't have to find out. Their conversation was interrupted by Vexator, who approached with a data pad. Excuse me, I've been asked to share something with you both. The pad showed a message spreading across the Kalari communication network, a new directive to all Kalari, ships and colonies. When encountering humans, proceed with extreme caution. They are never exactly what they appear to be. Tay couldn't help laughing. Is that a compliment or a warning? Both, I believe. Vextor replied with what humans were, learning to recognize as a Kalari smile. Word of what happened here is spreading quickly. Other species in the Dominion are already requesting information about humans. Jin raised an eyebrow. What kind of information? How to negotiate with you mainly, Vexator said. You're becoming quite famous. The species that talked its way from certain defeat to partnership. 6 months later, the first official Kalari delegation arrived on Earth for a cultural exchange program. The event was broadcast globally. Humans lined the streets to see the aliens who had nearly become their conquerors, but were now their allies. In the grand reception hall, President Kang welcomed High Commander Huxmal, who had become Earth's strongest advocate among the Kalari. Leadership. This marks a new chapter for both our peoples, the president said to the cameras. From potential enemies to partners in exploration and discovery. Across the galaxy, Other species watched these events with great interest. Some were concerned about humans joining the Dominion. Others were fascinated by how this primitive species had managed to negotiate as equals with the mighty Kalari. In a classroom on a distant Kalari colony, a teacher explained to young students, "Humans have a saying, speak softly and carry a big stick. It means to be peaceful but prepared for conflict." This approach confused our first contact teams who were used to species either fighting or surrendering. "Are humans dangerous?" asked one student. The teacher considered the question carefully. "All species can be dangerous. What makes humans unique is their adaptability. They seek peace first, but if threatened, they can become formidable very quickly." The High Command believes we can learn much from this approach. Back on Earth, Jin had been appointed as the first human ambassador to the Kalari Dominion. As she prepared for her new role, she received a message from Lirvex, who had become a friend during the tense negotiation days. "Human media is full of stories about our near war and how close both our species came to destruction," Lirvex wrote. "I find myself wondering if we were ever truly close to conflict, or if your strategy of negotiation while preparing defenses was the only possible outcome." Jin smiled as she typed her reply. "The beauty of good diplomacy is that we'll never have to know. The path not taken remains just that, untaken." As Earth entered this new era, its people looked to the stars with different eyes. No longer were they alone or even safe from powerful alien civilizations. But they had earned something valuable, a reputation. Throughout the Kalari Dominion, the message spread. When dealing with humans, never assume you know what they're capable of. They'll talk peace while preparing for war. They'll smile while studying your weaknesses. And somehow, they'll make you see them as valuable allies rather than conquered subjects. It was perhaps humanity's greatest strength in a vast and ancient galaxy.